In, in today's society, publication design is influenced by a revolution in editorial industry and its issues, like digital editorial design and electronic version of books. Because communication are important and the power of print that has never been stronger is not enough. In this modern situation, some social phenomenon like graffiti uses an ancient technique. 3 years ago, when I was a senior in Visual Art Department, Fine Art Faculty at University of Tehran, I chose graffiti art as the subject of my dissertation. So I began to search about it and its related styles like tagging, drop, piece, and related cultures like hip-hop, rapping, breakdancing, skateboarding, parkour, and its related techniques like sticker and stencil. Graffiti is the intellectual pop philosophy scrawled on the walls by, or ground everywhere you see, by section of society which does not reach media and use stenciling as a fast and simple technique for one's illegal publication in all over the world. After a while, I found stencil as an interesting technique because I had different experience in silk screen printing, and stencil is a simpler version which was used in Far East many years ago on silks for clothes. When I started searching, I found different forms of stencil type. I found different forms of stencil type in Latin works, but Persian stencils were so flat in type designing. So I decided to focus on Persian stencil type design. Typography as a single term has a sophisticated meaning, and every adjective or other adjective can make a new meaning and refer to new aspects of that. Type design is a crucial aspect of typography is different, but as a term has similar result in its composition. Every aspect of type design make many restrictions. In this pattern, a new alphabet is a high restriction because all principal role of type design organized for Latin alphabet form, also editorial industry based on Latin writing system with block letters. Every new technique and tool in presentation have itself spatial restrictions too. This research regards to alphabetical restrictions of Persian type design and technical restriction of stencil type design and dialectical relationship between these two aspects of type design. The first section, which abilities and difficulties in characteristics of different Persian calligraphy styles are usable in stencil type design. Stencil type had a remarkable use in Iran as it was used in other countries. So designers tried to change and adapt available Persian typefaces for stencils, and in some efforts, they reached noticeable results. But their efforts were not enough to explain all abilities of Persian typefaces and Persian calligraphy in stencil type design. There are many different styles in Persian calligraphy and ornamental writing. In this section, I represent three styles the most different. Nastaliq, a beautiful style that with the most Iranian characteristic than had ever been seen in other calligraphy styles. Nasr, a simple and balanced writing that had been outspread in all Islamic countries for publications, and a square kufik, an old ornamental script in modular system. Nastaliq, as a symbol of Persian calligraphy, Nastaliq has a sophisticated form. Nastaliq lettering that named Persian Calligraphy Bride, with all its beauty due to a fixed baseline and impossibility of separating letters and presence of various compositions, is a complicated style for type design, and in most designers' idea, is not suitable for type design at all. Before the application of metal type, Nastaliq and Nastaliq slanted were used for scribing letters, documents, and marriage certificates. Nastaliq has a spatial form in some rounded letters like mim, vav, fe for the first and end, qaf for the first and end, ain is e for the middle, gain for the middle, which help in stencil design process because these are filled and their counters are deleted. However, if closed areas in counters were filled, stencil design is an easier work because there is not necessary to create breaths and save islands. Also, in other closed letters like sad, zad, ta, za, with awaiting ascender, and in he for the separated end, with shortened terminal and a distance that is natural in slanted nastaliq, we can make a little bridge and save islands. He for the beginning and middle has two forms. The later forms has two eyes that is original form in Persian alphabet and is used in all calligraphy styles. The former form is special for nastaliq and manuscript handwriting, which was designed for easier and faster writing, and simplest form for stencil. Fe for the middle, qaf for the middle, and some combination like ligature between kaf and lam, have completely trapped holes. This problem was removed many years ago in bourgeois stencil type. Bourgeois is a sweet stencil typeface with a round and thick serifs appeared in Paris in the 1980s. These letters have strong writing contrast, and its breeds are positioned at the tiniest point of the letter, following the natural contrast axis of the letter and thus keeping distraction down and legibility up. So it automatically gets a very calligraphic appeal. This tested method is suitable for stenciling by every calligraphic typeface. So this is not spatial ability for Nastaliq or other Persian calligraphy styles, but it is more useful in Nastaliq because it has much greater contrast between thick and thin than had ever seen in other calligraphy styles. There are many soft curves in Nastaliq, so writer must change pen angle and change pen angle to make great contrast. Nasq. Nasq writing is a resemble from Sol's, Muhakkak, and Reyhan. Its letters are evolved from these styles. Nasq lettering was used for writing books before the application of metal type. In comparison with Nastaliq, Nasq lettering has a fixed baseline, fewer compositions, and most important, the capability of having separate letters. Also, the letters could be extended, making it possible to have justified column for any given text. In addition, this style, throughout the evolution of Persian calligraphy, becomes simpler, more fluent, and legible. So the first set of lead types were produced by a calligraphic method copied from Nasq writing. Samples of these types can be seen in newspapers of the 1940s and 50s. In Nasq lettering, resembling Nastaliq, there were many letters designed in three forms: for the beginning, for the middle, and for the end of the word, and some other were designed in two forms to be attached or be separated. In Nasq, there is not a strong writing contrast, but a spatial characteristic in Nasq letters is convenient in stenciling like pochoir method. Reed pen usage in Nastaliq lettering in comparison with Nastaliq in Nasq lettering in comparison with Nastaliq is episodic because there are oblique angles in its individual letters and writer does not change pen angle frequently. This oblique angle makes suitable places for resonate calligraphic appeal by intentional breeds. A square graphic. A square graphic is a simple but sophisticated script for the creative arts used in Persian traditional architecture. It has a simple form because it was created for masonry, brickwork, or steelwork and formed in modular system by a square as its units. It has a sophisticated because designers must design legible Persian or Arabic phrases in this system and they must adapt all angles and curves of varietal forms to right angles hardly. But this limitation makes many chance for stenciling. If a modular system divides to its units, many boundaries appear, which are usable as bridge position. Also, in corners, there is a diagonal contrast which makes 45 angle equally suitable for bridge position. After this research, I intuited all result in 6 abilities: filled letters, greater contrast and variety in some letter forms, from nastalic, oblique angle, from NAS, same connections and separable details and equal angles from a square cufic. As a practical termination, I tried to use this combined perspective and I created a Persian stencil typeface. I selected triangle as a good unit in modular system for this purpose. It helped me to use results of my research in my design, save contrast between thickness, and make oblique angles in a modular system. To bring my project to an end, I designed an ornamental composition using my stencil typeface and made a large format stencil sheet and did graffiti piece in the yard of my faculty. But it finally didn't convince me. It's two sections. Which abilities and abilities in stenciling technique help us to prevail over Persian alphabet difficulties in typesetting? In Persian typesetting, stencils give the designers the possibility, unlike metal types, to alter the type while setting the titles. For example, a designer could change distance between letters or place the individual letters differently. Designers also enjoyed stencils for the possibility of writing outline types. This means that stencil types had a notable role in publication design, and it's usable to eliminate spatial limitations of Persian letter forms in typesetting and its anatomy. Cursive form and connections, many scattering dots, different forms for different place in words, lack of a fixed baseline, to access easier system in editorial design. When I look closer to my inconclusive project, I found succeeded result in some letters. I developed this to bring off my new typeface. For example, in Ta, were summarized to just one form for beginning, middle, and end of the word, and related connections were deleted. What was the result? What was the difference between Ta and other letter forms? I turned to gaze at my typeface with a comparison between letter forms and found cause. Rooted baseline and posture changing were original reasons because rounded counter leaned right and rotated 45 clockwise, and baseline was broken for adapting a rounded part for square forms and saving its island. I generalized this result instead of evolving new version of my stencil type carefully. During this effort, I found similarity in angles between some letters which were mid-baseline. Also, I found out that all connections are summarized to meeting points. In fact, all connections were deleted, but acute angles led my eyes to lateral letters and persuaded me that there were connections inside. Of course, what I reached looked like a new alphabet and was legible for readers in first attempt. It was a Persian stencil typeface with letters which had single form for beginning, middle, and end of words. I thought it may need redesigning because I believe that Reading experience is very important for every typeface, but it is not disappointing result because for most of the readers, single letter forms were readable, and after some explanation about letters separating, they reached phrases better and better. However, there was a subtle but important point about reading problems. These problems almost maybe evolved from stenciling method in its design. If I get away these restrictions and use this experience as a guideline in a monoline type, I can design regular letter forms in different forms. It was easy because my geometric letter form was based in grid system. Therefore, I tested this idea in simple variations, and it is another project for me. This means that I redefined a new Persian type system with one form for every character that is usable in two type system. Cursive system, like regular Persian types with attached letters, and creative separated system like Latin types with definable spacing between letters. Double dots and triple dots summarized and replaced by one little horizontal or vertical line. Also, this simple typeface is examinable in Latin type anatomy easily. A great change happened between regular Persian type and my stencil type. Also made major change to this new type system. So it must be tested by different readers carefully, and it should be corrected more absolutely. At last, I hope it be useful experience for everyone who wants to prevail over Persian alphabet difficulties in typesetting and who wants to adapt it to Latin type system. Thank you.